up from $7,000 in 1987.
Good morning, Mr. Vice President.
At least Vice President Biden understands that subsidies raise prices.
How do you feel about the idea that government subsidies by artificially increasing the availability of student loans is at least partially responsible for rising tuition costs?
Government subsidies have impacted upon rising tuition costs, and it's a conundrum here.
It sure is. Colleges now advertise lobster dinners and expensive dorms with luxury pools.
Pools and spas and fancy gym facilities and sushi for lunch. Isn't that where you'd like to take your next vacation?
Yes.
Every college you go to and you say, well, why do you spend so much money on this? And they say, well, we have to compete with the college down the street.
A terrific climbing tower, 42 feet, with a variety of lights on it so we can simulate different times of the day.
So the administrator says, good, I'll build a new rock wall.
I would love to know where all of these rock walls are.
Okay, I'll show you. More than 600 colleges now have rock walls.
What's important to any leisure resort and what's important to any red-blooded American college student? Spring break. Give our Tigers spring break every time they step in to the student recreation complex.
When you go on a tour here, they definitely throw that in your face, and buy one a day. It's completely awesome.
Students will come to us and say, this is what sealed the deal. It used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. And well, we're now the fourth R, recreation.
Pretty much every parent that I have on my tour is pretty much like, I want to be back in school, or how do I get back to going to school?
We are putting colleges on notice.
Now even progressives are upset about the rising cost of college.
We can't just keep on subsidizing skyrocketing tuition.
But in that exact same speech, the president also said,
my administration is increasing federal student aid so more students can afford college.
Don't politicians see the irony? No. Coming up, imagine a place where fewer rules create prosperity.
Buildings are coming up, hotels are being built.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
Customers are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go.
When the housing bubble burst and markets fell, people intuitively felt someone must do something. The politicians in there said, we know what to do. Senator Dodd and Congressman Frank will write more rules to make sure it never happens again. And so they wrote and wrote hundreds of pages. They say this will create a new financial system.
One that is innovative, creative, competitive, and far less prone to panic and collapse.
Why is Dodd-Frank a good thing?
We'll have consumer protection, an agency that is dedicated to make sure that financial products like mortgages, credit cards, have simple contracts that are easy to understand. Transparency is a good thing.
Is Dodd-Frank simple? Did you read it?
Absolutely. I read it.
Did you understand it?
Yeah.
This whole thing? There it is. All these pages, you understand these?
Yes, I stayed up and read that thing. And let me tell you, running a bank is complicated.
But banks already had to follow these thousands of pages of complex rules, even before Dodd-Frank. If you want to open a bank, you've got to obey all these regulations. Economist Richard Rahn is a former bank regulator.
Again, I think most people have the trouble remembering the 10 Commandments, let alone 10,000 pages of something.
Ron used to work in the Cayman Islands. The Caymans. Sound familiar?
He's got assets hidden in the Cayman Islands.
We're not going to beat Barack Obama with some guy who has Swiss bank accounts, Cayman Island accounts.
Oh, yes. The Caymans are those Caribbean islands where Mitt Romney supposedly hides his money.
You know the reputation of the Cayman Islands.
People keep telling us it's where rich people go to cheat on taxes.
Here's a little building down the Cayman Islands.
Over 12,000 businesses claim this building as their headquarters.
It's monkey business.
Either this is the largest building in the world or the largest tax scam.
I mean, you hear it all over the news. Well, about the whole tax haven foolishness. I mean, it really isn't so.
She's right. Look at this GAO report. The IRS says Cayman's officials provide all requested information in a timely manner.
Mitt Romney pays taxes on all the money earned from the Cayman entities.
I would think it would be like pirate heaven. Some pirate would go and steal all the money.
Well, That actually doesn't happen because the rules are understandable.
Our laws are so complex, even regulators don't understand them. The SEC investigated Bernie Madoff 6 times, but didn't stop him.
Bernie Madoff could never have gotten away in Cayman what he got away with here in the U.S.
America's complex laws only pretend to stop fraud. Remember the solution after the Enron scandal?
With the tough new law, we will act against those who have shaken confidence in our markets.
That gave us a law called Sarbanes-Oxley, which cost America billions in paperwork, but did not prevent Madoff's fraud or the next bubble.
The economy in crisis, big banks in a death spiral.
Banks made bad decisions. It makes sense that you should have a rule to stop that.
No.
But what about that Cayman building? Doesn't it suggest tax fraud? Thousands of companies are registered here.
It has nothing to do with taxes. In Delaware, there's buildings that have 10 times or 100 times as many registered companies.
It's true. Companies register themselves in Delaware because Delaware has simpler rules. I once started a business there in just 1 week.
Fox t-shirts? Fox hats? Great stuff here.
I could have registered my stand even faster in the Caymans.
What I set out to do was to design a system that was market responsive and fast.
Don Seymour helped create the simple rules. It takes just 10 pages to register a hedge fund. And the simple rules work.
Look at our track record. Just in the past decade, we've been through the crisis of 2000, 2004, and the most severe crisis being 2008. And no Cayman financial institution needed any type of government intervention or needed any type of bailout.
Simple rules also created prosperity.
Today we have the highest standard of living in the world.
We're doing real good. We can't complain.
Jobs are always opening up. The businesses are booming out of nowhere. Buildings are coming up. Hotels are being built.
Simple rules has been good for people.
Yes.
It's counterintuitive. People's reaction is we protect people with more rules.
I go back to the 10 Commandments. You know, the Bible said you needed 10. They didn't say you needed 100,000.
Coming up, do you hate the TSA?
Such disgusting abuses of power.
But good news, there's something better.
People here are friendly and willing to help.
That's next. After September 11th, politicians said government must take over airline security.
And get federal law enforcement to do this job.
Tom Daschle said you can't professionalize if you don't federalize. And the Senate voted 100-0 to take over airport security screenings.
Sir, do you have your ID?
So is it now professional?
Opt out!
These people don't think so. Flyers complain that they are
Subjected to such disgusting abuses of power.
TSA employees ordered the elderly woman remove her soiled adult diaper because it was preventing a thorough pat-down.
This former Miss America said she felt molested.
She actually touched my vagina.
But didn't the TSA keep us safe? There haven't been successful attacks since September 11th. You might say that shows it's working.
Actually, every report shows that TSA missed things. What actually saved us was the passengers and crew.
Congressman Micah helped create the TSA. Now he chairs the Transportation Committee.
Richard Reed, it wasn't a TSA that saved the day. If you look at the diaper bomber, it was the passengers and crew that saved the day. The Times Square bomber, he called on his cell phone, ordered his ticket on the way to JFK, went through TSA, got on the plane.
On top of that, the TSA is such a lousy place to work that more than 50% of the workforce has quit. And the agency keeps losing employees and hiring new ones.
They're advertising on the top of pizza boxes.
A career where X-ray vision and benefits are standard. Turnover's high not because the TSA is underfunded. It spends 10 times what the previous private screening companies spent. Micah says he was shocked at how much money they can waste.
John, you don't want to know. I just sent 2 guys down. They got a warehouse in Texas. They bought hundreds of puffers that didn't work.
Remember these? They cost $150,000 each and were supposed to detect explosives. But they didn't work.
They sat in warehouses and they paid, I think, $600 a piece for DOD to destroy them.
So the TSA wastes money, misses terrorists, infuriates passengers, and creates long lines. Isn't there a better way? Oh, here's one. The lines are shorter at San Francisco Airport. They move quickly. And passengers even say the screeners are nice.
People here are friendly and willing to help.
I think they're a little more understanding.
Everybody here is friendly, a lot more friendly than Dallas.
Dallas and all the other big airports employ government screeners. San Francisco is the one major airport that was allowed to hire screeners who work for a private company. Not only are these screeners nicer, they're better at finding stuff. The TSA tested them and found they were twice as good at finding contraband. Why would private screeners be nicer and better? Here's a reason. They practice. Here they're racing to match these security cards together under blacklight. The fastest screener will win $2,000. There's even dramatic music. The TSA trains its screeners too, but not like this. In this competition, screeners race to search bags and identify forbidden items. Here's a pipe bomb. Then they rush to repack the bag. All right. In this test, they look at slides of people and try to remember details.
How many buttons are on her sleeve? Russia?
4.
Yes.
The private company makes these screeners specialists.
Behavior detection officer. They have to be able to look at something, look at a lot of people, and be able to retain what they saw. So this is the things you find out, who's very good at that stuff.
We're really competitive.
Screeners love the contests.
So usually it's, did you go? Yes. What's your score? I'm not telling you. Because if you tell a person your score, they're going to try to beat you. And you just want to be the winner. It's kind of like bragging rights.
And I suppose they get better with these contests?
Oh, yes. They have to.
If you don't have the passion for it, right, then I guess you need to find another job.
Who knew privatization would create better attitudes? Privatized seems so selfish. I bet you're making money. That's money coming out of my pocket.
I don't mind making a little profit. It's kind of the capitalistic way. It's the American way.
Profit makes you try harder.
Makes you work very hard. We have to do well.
That also means getting passengers through security quickly. Wait times here are shorter because they move screeners around.
We have moved in staff from Pier C over to Pier E checkpoint with 2 lanes up.
If we show red there, we know we're short-staffed somewhere. See, we start to back up here a little bit. We find out how many people we can send to help them.
Okay, I think we're good. We'll make those changes.
The director of this airport wishes her screening company tried as hard to keep lines moving.
We get a high number of visitors in the summer.
Of course she does. Her airport's right next to Montana's Glacier National Park. People go to the park in summertime. Traffic triples. But the TSA doesn't respond to that.
Screening levels remain constant year-round. Same number in the summer as in the winter.
So because of that and the delays it creates, and passenger complaints about rude screeners, Cindy wanted to switch to a private screening company. The law that created the TSA allows that, but airports have to ask for permission. Cindy and dozens of other airport managers asked, but the TSA simply didn't respond for a year and a half. Then they said no. What reason did they give you?
They didn't give us a reason.
We asked TSA officials to come on this show to explain their position, but they declined. Their spokesman also lied to us. When we asked for permission to film the competitions at San Francisco Airport, they told us the private company is camera shy and wants to stay out of the limelight. But it wasn't true.
I don't know why they did that. I really don't.
The only reason the TSA is given for rejecting other San Francisco-like experiments is there is no clear advantage to the federal government. I bet McDonald's would like to tell Burger King, you can't open here. There's no clear advantage to you coming here.
They would love that, I'm sure.
TSA creator, Congressman Micah, says the bureaucrats are just protecting their turf.
It's typical government.
Gives them more power.
Yeah, keep the power in Washington.
So, what were you thinking? You did this.
There's no question it's grown into a monster, and they become a huge personnel operation instead of a security operation.
Coming up, people think the program Head Start gives poor kids a head start. But no, They Cant.
Top quality